There is a land hidden between Rome and Tuscany where everything is very reasonably priced, but history, tradition, people, really people, are fantastic.
Via, pronti? E questo è un inno al vino.
You can easily buy for what you can get, maybe a garage in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, a little piece of paradise with fireplace and with a garden. A lovely place where you grow older or you send your friends and family. Please check us out. Good evening, good evening. This is the last Tuesday of the month, and with my honor, it's an honor for me to have my special friend Roy Heffner from Villa San Giovanni in Tuscia, that originally is from America. He is my regular guest, so let me introduce him. Hey Roy, good evening, how are you?
Good evening, I'm pretty good. Did a lot of work today, a lot of weed whacking and mowing the fields here today, but I like it.
So Roy, we have been doing this for, I don't know, I think like almost a couple of years. Well, what's your impression about, the little city in Tuscia, what we do, the general feeling or the general feel for Americans once they come into Tuscia? What's your position in general?
Well, mine, of course, is a little different because I have an Italian wife. And so life here for me is a lot easier, and I couldn't be a full-time resident. I'm a legal resident of Italy, and so for people, Americans who are coming here, it might be a little different, although it's still manageable. But living here is just fantastic. I mean, I weigh about 170 pounds today, and when I came here 16 years ago, I weighed 202 pounds. So, I'm much healthier. I'm 80 years old, and if I was still living in the United States, I don't think I'd be alive.
So, Roy, can we say that Tuscia is extending your life on top of giving you a very high quality of life?
Well, Tuscia for sure, because my wife is from Rome, and her mother is still alive. She's 94 years old. So once in a while we go to Rome. I can't stand going to Rome. I can't stand being Rome, I've been there as a tourist, and but I would never want to live in the big city. Again, I lived in New York City and Chicago for, most of my life. But where I live here in the village, Villa San Giovanni in Tuscia, it's a very laid back, there's no stress. People are nice, so I couldn't be happier in being in my part of Tuscia.
So, Roy, you pronounce Tuscia to me in a little bit of a funny way. So I think I sound like Tuscia with the U, with the accent. How do you pronounce Tuscia?
I say Tuscia.
Tuscia.
But I'm American. You're Italian. It's like I don't roll my R's like Italians do.
Okay.
I didn't even know. When I say buongiorno.
And yet you have a good life in Villa.
My Italian is like an Italian like you speaking English. You're not American, and obviously I'm not Italian.
Correct.
It's good enough. It's good enough.
Okay, so let's go back to our business. So we have to present the real estate opportunities in Tuscia. Today, we are going to be talking about Farnese. I don't know if you remember, Roy, last month we talked about Ischia di Castro, that is just 3 kilometers, maybe 2 miles away. So it's kind of the same area, very north of Tuscia, almost Tuscany. But today, we have a special ambassador for Farnese, and if that's okay with you, I would love to show a video that he actually sent us presenting Farnese, because he's a pilot and he's actually flying right now, so he couldn't join us, but he sent us a video. So I think it is going to be fun. So Roy, is that okay with you?
Of course. Let's go.
There you go, Mr.
Andiamo.
Andiamo. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you Mr. Rob Coffey. He is a Etrusco, but with red hair, so he's originally from Ireland, and I think it's going to be fun. His video is a very nicely organized video. Here it is, Rob Coffey.
Hello, everybody. My name is Roberto. I was born in Dublin in 1997 to an Irish father and an Italian mother. In 2002, my family chose Farnese as our home, and it became the place where I truly grew up. Farnese is a small medieval village in the Lazio region where history is not only remembered, it is lived every day. Stone houses, quiet streets, and open landscapes create a rhythm of life that feels authentic and timeless. Nature surrounds us everywhere. Just outside the town lies the Lamone Forest, one of the largest forests in Italy. Walking here means discovering volcanic landscapes, ancient paths, and the quiet presence of wildlife. It's a place where you can breathe deeply and slow down. Today I work as a pilot, traveling between cities and countries, but every time I return to Farnese, I feel grounded again. Leaving behind the noise and speed of big cities and coming back to peaceful environment helps me restore my energy and reconnect with what matters. The land is rich with traditions, olive trees, local wine, and culture shaped by generations who live closely with nature. The climate is gentle, with mild winters and beautiful springs and summers that invite you to live outdoors. Only 15 minutes away lies Lake Bolsena, the largest volcanic lake in Europe. Its clear waters and quiet shores offer moments of calm, whether swimming, fishing, or exploring the islands of Bisantina and Martana by boat. Even in its tranquility, Farnese remains connected to the world. Nearby train stations make it easy to reach cities like Rome, Florence, or Milan, allowing you to enjoy the balance between peaceful living and discovery. For me, Farnese is more than a place on the map. It's where nature meets history, where silence becomes strength, where coming home always feels right. Surrounded by history with Etruscan artifacts, museums, and castles, Farnese is a small medieval town built in tufa rock, a hidden corner of Italy waiting to be discovered.
But I love what this guy did. Did you like the video?
Yeah, it was great. Very good.
But he's a young guy. He did it with the phone vertically, right? But we forgive him, right? So let's talk business. I know we talked about this a long time ago, but because we have been insisting, thank God YouTube discovered us. So more and more people watch this video from YouTube. So let's recap. How hard, according to your experience, is to do all the process to allow one person to buy in Italy a piece of real estate?
Well, I've heard, some bad things, and I've heard some good things. And the good things, like when my son and his wife decided to try and buy a place here, it was relatively a piece of cake. I mean, it wasn't like a big, huge deal. But I've heard other stories where there's a lot of bureaucracy. And so I think the key, if you want to buy a place here, is to find a good real estate agent that can run through the system for you. But I don't think there's anything, I don't know if there's anything that would prohibit you from buying a place here, fairly easily.
So, Roy, let me ask you a very basic question. So when you, not in your village, when you go out of your village and people figure you are American, what kind of reaction do you get?
Well, I've never had a bad experience. The only the only time I've had a problem, even in the village, is because I'm a fairly liberal person, and in Italy, it's like the United States; it's half liberal and half conservative. And the conservatives don't like me, but they don't like anybody that's liberal. It's not that because I'm an American, but Italians love Americans. Americans liberated Italy in World War II, and particularly the older people, they haven't forgotten that. So in my case, in the village, I'm the only American, and I'm kind of like unique. But I've never had a problem because I was an American ever, and nobody American who comes to Italy is ever going to have a problem. Italians love Americans, so that's not a problem at all.
Okay, so let me take you back on the memory line. So you said 16 years since you moved to Italy. Tell us one story. So the last time you kind of remember looking for a place, wanting to buy, maybe helping somebody, what kind of numbers are we talking about? Do you have any memory?
Well, in our village, I mean, I've looked at the Farnese.
No, in America.
Huh?
In America.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And when Rita and I left New York, we had a loft in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And when I first moved in with Rita in 2001, you couldn't even get a cab driver to drive you to Red Hook, Brooklyn, because it was too dangerous. It was like going to the Bronx. So our loft was, when I moved in with Rita, was $1,100 a month. Right now it's $6,000 a month. And if it was for sale, it would be probably $3-4 million. So one of the advantages, of course, living here is housing here is incredibly inexpensive compared to anything anywhere in America now. So buying here is, like you say in your introduction, you can't buy a garage in New York City for $200,000. Well, for $200,000 in Italy, anywhere in Italy, even in the wealthy regions, Tuscany, you can get a wonderful place. There, in our village, which has many fine homes, there's no place for sale for $200,000.
So let me tell you the little research I did about Farnese. So Farnese is not prime location for real estate. Real estate prime location in Tuscia, of course, Viterbo, and the places along the sea or around the lakes, of course, because the lake and the sea. But Farnese is relatively close to the lake, like Roberto said. So in Farnese, you can buy, it's in square meters, so let's say roughly 10 square feet, something for $500-600, which means if you want to buy a 100 square meters, which is 1,000 square feet, which is not that small, let's say maybe 2 bedroom, 1 bath, or 2, you can easily buy for 50,000, 60,000, and it's completely done. You don't have to fix anything. Yeah. If you have to fix half of it, for sure. For sure.
No question about it. And as I've said many times on this video, that one of the nice things and surprising things for Americans is, in America, we have very high real estate taxes, extremely high. So even if you pay cash for, you own your place, you still have very high property taxes because that supports the local government. Here in Italy, there are some, but there's virtually no property taxes in Italy. So if you can afford to buy a place, you don't have to worry about the monthly costs.
So Roy, let's get a little practical. Say one American falls in love with Tuscia and come and buy a place, let's say an apartment, and let's say, just for the sake of argument, it's already perfectly done. You don't have to remodel or anything. How hard do you think it is going to this place maybe 2-3 times a year? Because normally people work in America, right? But they can come maybe 2-3 times, maybe send some kids, maybe some friends, whatever. Is it hard to keep it up? Is it hard to find somebody to do the cleaning, maybe to stuff the refrigerator before you come? What do you think?
No, not at all. Because people here, there's plenty of people in every village that do jobs like that. And you can, I was trying to encourage my son to go through and buy one of these places in Bolsena, particularly Bolsena, and a place like Farnese. B&B's, Airbnb here is huge. And so you're not there. Well, you get the local real estate guy you bought the place from, and he'll do it for you. And you give him 50%, you keep 50%. And again, in a place like Bolsena or Farnese, you could rent it out for many, many, many nights during the year and make money. It wouldn't cost you any money. You would make money. So.
Do you remember Luis? We had him on last month. He's watching us, very likely from Washington, D.C., and he can't wait to go back, but he's a CPA, so this is tax season, right? So this is what more or less he's doing. No, he has his own place, but he organized people to go there, whether as a tour or maybe individual or maybe some B&B or whatever. I think this is a fantastic way to use, I don't know, let's say $50,000. You buy a place, that's your place. You go whenever you want, and when you don't go, you get it rented, on a, I don't know, daily base or whatever, right? By somebody that gets a split.
Yeah. No, if you have a little cash, it is good that you pay cash for your place here. Getting mortgages is a whole different deal. They're available, but it's not, in the United States, everybody gets a mortgage, for their house. In Italy, like the majority of the people in our village, they own their house. They don't have a mortgage. So, which is one of the reasons that real estate is cheaper here. Mortgages and tax deductions and those things, they really drive up the price of real estate. And we don't have that here in Italy. So the price of the home is what it should be.
Yeah. Okay, Roy, let me shift a little bit the focus. When we talk about your own village, you always tell us, in a little walk, I am in the middle of nature, and if I want, I go back and I meet people and stuff. Farnese in particular has something close by that is called La Selva del Lamone, that is an incredible, it's called lunar scenario, because all the rocks are very white. I don't really know why. And it's a place outside time. There is a very nice school within the park where kids do not study on books, and they kind of study going through nature and stuff. In many ways, Farnese is a new age kind of place, a new concept. It's kind of a lab where people try to live in a different way. But I want to add that the food is anyway fantastic, and going to the lake just takes 15 minutes. Going to Rome and Italy still, 1 hour or a little more. So I think it's a good compromise between having whatever you need not too far, but at the same time being in a preserved area, which, thank God, is typical in Tuscia, right? From every village, you just walk and you are in the middle of nature. Is that correct?
Of course. For instance, with our village and two neighboring villages, Barberano Romano and Bleda, there's a walk. It's 27 kilometers. We get like 100 people every time this walk is done, and they just walk. And you're not walking along the highway, you're walking through
nature.
The nature and the forest, and people love doing this, just love doing it. And that's in this area in Tuscia, it's you can walk, you could do a walk every day for a year and still not do them all. And it's very beautiful, very, very beautiful.
I don't think Rob showed us anything that is not normal, in the sense it's not that he had to choose between several scenes and just pick some, because I think that's what Farnese is. It's a little village. I don't know, maybe not even 2,000 people, but it's surrounded by all these beautiful spots. From one side the lake, from the other side La Selva dell'Amore, and then all these fields where you can get incredibly good fresh produce, right? I don't think he mentioned the artichoke. There is a very famous artichoke coming from that area, but also beans and lentils and stuff. So one thing I guess we get used to and we kind of take for granted is that the food there is fantastic. Do you agree?
Well, duh. We walk 300 meters down the street from our house, and a friend of ours Marco has a farm, a beautiful farm. So when we buy vegetables, he's open on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if we go there, we can go anytime we want. And so when we go there and buy vegetables, it's not like they're fresh. He goes out in the garden and he cuts them. You know, so this week we went, I think we went Sunday, and we got a tremendous amount of fresh, completely fresh vegetables, completely fresh. Spinach and broccoletti and you name it. It was 15 euros. You know, first of all, if you went to your store in Santa Monica, it'd be 60 euros, and it would be who knows how old it is. So eating here is fantastic. Even in the so-called big supermarkets here, which aren't very big, the produce and the meat and everything is much better, much fresher. One thing I wanted to say about Tuscia, and particularly Viterbo province, you know, Americans don't know Italian geography, but in Italy there's 20 regions, and each region has provinces, and a region is sort of like a state, and a province is sort of like a county. So in the Viterbo province, there's 60 communities, 60 comunes. Every single one of them is interesting to go to. It's not like one you went, oh, I would never go to that fucking place. You know? Every single comune has something going for it. They're all beautiful, large, small, you know, every single one. You could come here, you could spend years here going to all these places, and I haven't been to half of them, you know.
Me neither. So, particularly for Farnese, they have this historical event that changed their path. In 1972, Italy stopped because on TV at that point there were only 2 channels, I believe. In the main channel, they showed the adventure of Pinocchio, and everybody was watching, right? Everybody. And a bunch of the scenes were shot in Farnese. Because when Comencini, the art director, arrived and saw the place, said, hey, this is perfect. It's poor, rural, no asphalt, no nothing, right? And he just went for it. Now, for whatever reason, nobody touched anything. So fast forward 40 years, somebody said, hey, look, this is where Comencini shot Pinocchio. So somebody, in particular, my friend, her name is Georgia, organize an association, and they are there just to preserve the Borgo di Pinocchio, meaning the place where Pinocchio was shot. And nowadays, people from literally all over Europe go and visit Pinocchio's Borgo, but we're not talking about a river of people, maybe 2, 3, 4, 7, 10 people a day, because it's really not that well known. And in some sense, that's the way they like it, because a guest arrives, or a couple, or whatever family, they go out and introduce themselves, and they show them where this scene was shot, the other scene, and so forth. And sometimes there are guests that were part of the scenes. You know, back then they were part, like young people, standing somewhere. And whomever goes there has a fantastic experience. And guess what? We are connecting Il Borgo di Pinocchio with Tuscia and Fiore, and we are organizing a new plan that is Tuscia and Fiore throughout the year. So they will have soon a very beautiful garden full of flowers next to the Pinocchio Borgo. And this is just one of those things that nobody knows. It came to my mind because you told me that, there are so many comune and nobody knows all of them. And that's Tuscia for you, right?
It is, and particularly, Farnese. Now, for instance, I haven't been there, but since we've done the show and I did some research, I'm going to go. But the Farnese family, the history. If you go to Des Moines, Iowa, there's no history. Even Chicago, where I lived for so many years, Chicago is a brand new town compared to anything. Farnese is ancient. It's freaking ancient, but it's named Farnese because of this family. And the village we did last time, they're all connected. So in addition to the beauty of these villages, there's a tremendous history behind it. And it's very, very interesting. You don't get this stuff. I was born in Taunton, Massachusetts, and that's 30 miles from Plymouth Rock. And Taunton was incorporated in 1660. 1660. That's the United States. That's pretty old.
Oh yeah.
Here, 1660 is not old.
No, it's not. Okay, Roy, we are almost at the end. Believe it or not, half hour flew by. So, a last speech. Why Farnese versus another comune? Are you able to reason?
Well, because of this show, and I heard of Farnese, but I didn't know about it. But I checked it out. We're going to go. We're going to take a little Sunday drive up there. All these villages, you can find a nice place to eat. Not for pretty reasonable price. There's no expensive restaurant there, but whatever you get to eat is trattoria is great. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
So as far as I'm concerned, I would definitely recommend Giorgia, my friend, the president of the association, the Borgo di Pinocchio, the Selva della Mone, that is a very unique preserved nature spot. And also, as you mentioned, it's very easy to eat incredibly well at a very reasonable price. So Luis lives 3 kilometers away, 2 miles away. There is a growing community of artists and people from all over the world, like Rob from Ireland. I think Farnese could really be a piece of paradise for somebody interested. So with this note, I thank you, Roy. Yes, I will see you the last Tuesday of the month, and we'll be talking about another little comune in Tuscia. And thank you again, my friend.
All right. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Regista, com'è andata oggi?
Bene, benissimo, come sempre. Ci vediamo alla prossima, Giulio.
Dalla Tuscia